God's saving of man is not done directly through the means of the Spirit or as the Spirit. For his Spirit can neither be touched nor seen by man, and cannot be approached by man. If he tried to save man directly, in the manner of the Spirit, man would be unable to receive his salvation. And if not for God putting on the outward form of a created man, they would be unable to receive this salvation. For man can in no way approach him, much like how none could go near the cloud of Jehovah. Only by becoming a man of creation, that is, putting his word into the flesh he will become, can he personally work the word into all who follow him. Only then can man hear for himself his word, see his word, and receive his word. Then through this be fully saved. If God did not become flesh, no fleshly man would receive such great salvation, nor would a single man be saved. If the Spirit of God worked directly among man, man would be smote or completely carried away captive by Satan, because man is unable to associate with God. The first incarnation was to redeem man from sin through the flesh of Jesus. That is, he saved man from the cross, but the corrupt satanic disposition still remained within man. The second incarnation is no longer to serve as a sin offering, but to fully save those who were redeemed from sin. This is done so that those forgiven can be delivered from their sins and be fully made clean, and attain a change in disposition, thereby breaking free of Satan's influence of darkness and returning before the throne of God. Only in this way can man be fully sanctified. God began the work of salvation in the age of grace, after the age of law had come to an end. It is not until the last days, when God has fully purified mankind by doing the work of judgment and chastisement of man for rebelliousness, will God conclude his work of salvation and enter into rest. Therefore, in the 3 stages of work, only twice did God become flesh to carry out his work among man himself. That is because only one in the 3 stages of work is to lead man in their lives, while the other 2 are the work of salvation. Only if God becomes flesh can he live alongside man, experience the suffering of the world, and live in an ordinary flesh. Only in this way can he supply man of his creation with the practical word that they need. Man receives full salvation from God because of God incarnate, not directly from their prayers to heaven. For man is fleshly. Man is unable to see the Spirit of God, and much less able to approach him. All that man can associate with is God's incarnate flesh. Only through him can man understand all the words and all the truths, and receive full salvation. The second incarnation is sufficient to get rid of the sins of man and fully purify man. Hence, the second incarnation will bring to a close all the work of God in the flesh and complete the significance of God's incarnation. Thereafter, the work of God in the flesh will have entirely come to an end. After the second incarnation, he will not again become flesh for his work. For his entire management will have come to an end. In the last days, his incarnation will have fully gained his chosen people, and all man in the last days will have been divided according to their kind. He will no longer do the work of salvation, nor will he return to flesh to carry out any work.
God comes to save mankind, not through spirit or a spirit, whom none can see or touch, who can't be approached by man. If God saved man as spirit and not a man of creation, none could get his salvation. Yes, no one could be saved. God becomes a created man. In the flesh he puts his word, so he can impart his word into all who follow him, so man can hear and see and receive his word. Through this man can be truly saved from his sin. If God was not incarnate, no man of flesh could be saved, and no one could receive God's great salvation. If God's Spirit worked among men, they would all be smitten or taken captive by Satan, for they cannot touch God's Spirit. God becomes a created man. In the flesh he puts his word, so he can impart his word into all who follow him, so man can hear and see and receive his word. Through this man can be truly saved from his sin. From prayers to heaven, but from God's incarnation, for they are all of flesh. They can't see or approach the Spirit of God. Only God incarnate is the one who they can associate with. Through him they understand all truth and get full salvation. God becomes a created man. In the flesh he puts his word, so he can impart his word into all who follow him, so man can hear and see and receive his word. Through this man can be truly saved